Long, long before Dalamud was forged to imprison an Elder Primal. The eldest of them all, savior of the star, was sealed within a moon of his own. Souls sacrificed to grant him life still slumber and dream of the day he and we will be made whole. Here he waits, in this cold, barren place, his cradle and his grave. Silent lamentations and prayers of hope echo soundlessly to a sundered star, adrift and alone.
Wow. That's one hell of a sight. You with me. Hydaelyn's champion. I return. I must return. Why? Home. I need. You mustn't touch. In Cerulean halls, find me. The Watcher's Palace. No steps echo through this looming spire save your own, but you nevertheless sense the presence of Ob. Holy shit. Apologies. I have been preoccupied for quite some time and am out of practice at conversation. Ever since this moon was created by Hydaelyn, I have served as an integral part. I am the Watcher. I am responsible for the prisoner and the devices that hold him fast. Zodriak himself, a projection of the moon's core. Though rent asunder by Hydaelyn, he grows more powerful with every rejoining. 7 there have been, 7 too many. And yet, for all his servants' machinations, he remains incomplete. The fallen are beyond salvation. No attempt would be made to free Zodriak, not until he is whole once more. But someone has taken action. The shackles that hold him are nearly shattered. 6 locks to his jail, great and grand. Gargantuan swords driven deep, brands to bind Zodriak forevermore. 5 were destroyed by his would-be liberator. One of these I have restored. I strive to mend the remaining 4, but my efforts are being impeded. Souls sacrificed to summon Zodriak, their manifestation consequence of the waning seal. They labor in opposition to my work. They must be expelled for the preservation of all. If keeping Zodriak imprisoned is the right thing to do, I will aid you. I will only resort to expelling them if all else fails. What is right and good? Ask 1,000 souls and receive 1,000 answers. I offer none. I am the watcher and the jailer. I am not the judge. Know this. Idling commands the forces of stasis, and this moon is the product of such power. So long as Zodriak remains imprisoned in this place, no more sacrifices will be made in his name, nor will those souls rendered up in his name fade into oblivion. Go, meet with these wandering spirits. Do what you think is right. You must confront those lost souls, yes, but you need not expel them by might of arms. A feathered touch, a firm word, simple methods may send them away, faint echoes as they are. Wear the strength of sentiment that drives them, however, emotions that do not fade even with the passage of centuries. And make haste, though yet distant, unwelcome guests draw closer. I think it's this guy? Yes, this guy. Where? When? How long? Was it truly so long ago? We were happy, at peace with the star. We nurtured it, helped it grow, with our will, our creations. Doggos are barking. We were the star's beating heart, its life, every soul a drop of blood flowing through its veins. To live, to learn, to create, to make better. The star flourished, as did we. Do you remember? As the whispers die, the final spirit fades. No shadows of times long lost remain around the drowning band. What the f... A doggo! Hello, doggo. Oh, hello, doggo. An unusually lustrous dog is gazing at you with what seems to be fond anticipation. It appears to be waiting for you to follow it. You always follow the doggo. Hello, doggo. Follow the lustrous dog and try not to fall behind. The dog silently regards the spirit that lurks near the brand. Can I pet the dog? Who's a good boy? Y bonito. We and the star were fulfilled. Wanted for naught. Mourned for naught. So why? Why did it have to end? The final days taught us to fear a death forced upon us, the injustice of duties and dreams left unfulfilled, the grief of unexpected partings. Swift as darkness, cold as ash. Such tragedy, yet no catharsis. Such truth, yet no consolation. As the whispers die, the spirits fade. All is silent and still around the numbing brand. Doggo! Why is this dog barking so much? Let me go see the real life dog. Look at the little one. Look at the dog. Mira el perrito. Mira el perrito. Mira nuestros dogs. Ya, va a dormir. Papá está jugando el 14. Termino la cámara. Ya la cámara me está jugando ahí, ¿verdad? Eso es. Muy bien. Muy bonito. Ah, she wants to be here. The lustrous dog is once again staring at you expectantly, and who are you to deny it? Follow and try not to fall behind. The dog silently regards the shadow that lurks near the brand. Our perfection came crumbling down, such overwhelming despair. In that moment, we knew the end was nigh. The faintest glimmer of hope remained. We gave our lives that others may live. We gave ourselves to Zodriak. Zodriak, our Lord and Savior, to forge our world anew. To live and love again. Become one with the star. Fill earth and heaven with life. Birth paradise where fear is distant memory. Pardon me, but would you be so kind as to step aside? Ah, that unmistakable color. The soul of Assam. But not the friend I knew, I think. Nevertheless, you are you. So, Emet-Selch meant for you to have it. You seem surprised. Why might that be? We meet again, Etheirys. You're the receptionist at the Bureau of the Secretariat, correct? I'm guessing this is Etheirys. Again, I do not believe I have yet had the pleasure, because the Etheirys we met in Amurath was a figment, a construct of Emetzelk's imagination and memories. This would be more akin to the real Hythlodaeus. Emetzelk created a shade in my likeness, and not only me, but all of Amarot? How very like him. A slave to sentiment, even after an eternity. As you may have guessed, I am different from the shade you met before. No mere approximation, but the original. A soul sacrificed to Zodriak. We remember in vivid detail the events leading to our purgatory. The plans and plots for our resurrection, Hydalin's intervention, and Zodriak's and the stars' final fate. And then we drifted in a waking dream, our minds steeped in fog, until you came. I know not what you and your friends intend for Zodriak or the future of the star. Nevertheless, in you I place my trust and faith. In you I choose to believe, as Emetzelk did. Believe in yourself, and all will be well. More new arrivals. Though... Van Daniel. That color I know. And another I do not. An unfamiliar but fearsome being. I have kept you from your duty. By way of apology, I will ensure that the shades hinder you no more. Protect the final brand. Fare you well, my new old friend. The dog rolls, agitated. We must protect the brand. Come on, boy. Cry havoc and let slip the dog of war. That's you, by the way. We must protect the brand. The dog nudges you with its nose. You get the feeling it wants you to hop on? Ride the dog. Yes. Oh dear. Flying dog. There's only one brand left.
in the nick of time to savor the crowning triumph. Unbound and free at last. Arise, Zodriak! Deprived of heart and will by the loss of dearest Etheirys, a creature of pure instinct, wanting for guidance. But powerful, oh so powerful, more so with every passing moment. Such potential, even in this incomplete state. Still the savior who delivered a world from certain doom.
So, here we stand. You know my intents. Consume the god, then the world. Stoke your fury to a raging inferno, and dance among the ashes. Or perhaps you would face me here and now. A lesser but welcome amusement. Yes, a taste to whet the appetite.
This man is insane.
Sorry to spoil the moment, but might I ask that you postpone the slaughter until I've said my piece? I promise I will be brief. Do you remember when I told you that I wanted to die and take everyone with me? I meant it.
Does he want to become Zodriak's new heart? Take control of it? We are the savior. We are the guardian, the keeper of natural order. We are the martyr, the bestower of new beginnings. We are...
Such lofty aspirations! And what sweet irony that the world's saviors will become the agents of its destruction!
It cannot end this way. We must return and be made whole. We are the will of the star, now and forever. For the greater good, for the sake of the world.
Wrong, 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 wrong! Lies and delusion! The dead have no power over me, You will be silent. Silent as the grave!
No more, we beg of you. The star must endure. Oh.
Believe, walk in faith. Let the light of your soul shine for all to see. Not quite the outcome you'd imagined, but a fitting one nonetheless. Don't you think so, Hades?
I had intended to pit my fractured divinity against Xenos, but a more tempting option presents itself. The greatest obstacle to my ambition. You will trouble me no longer.
A trial. I'm level 84. I'm level 80 freaking 4. I'm facing Zodriak. Very cool. Okay, I can't believe this is level 84. I can't believe this. Zodriak's shackles have finally been broken, bringing his millennia-long imprisonment to an end. This premature awakening is the work of Fandaniel, who has cast aside his duty as an Ascian to turn the god of darkness against the very star he was created to protect. With Zodriak's unfathomable power at his disposal, Fandaniel has selected his first victim, the Warrior of Light, who has ever been a thorn in the Ascians' side. ¿Tú juras que me importa un pepino el tráiler de la Matrix con esta suculencia que tengo enfrente? ¡Estás equivocadísimo! Pero este momento, guayo, no.
Establishing connection. All creation shall bend to my will. The end has come, and it will be beautiful.
Woohoo!
The marvels of circus were but playthings. Malice become flesh!
Behemoth.
Will you live to see the end? Soon my hold over Zodriak shall be complete! Mine! All mine! At last, I am become Zodriak. The natural order overturned. All in existence, bent to my will.
The
My life's work, my masterpiece.
Adikia. Y se fue medio mundo abajo.
The great cataclysm, faithfully recreated. From broken skies fall tears of flame.
Yeah, we're dead.
All shall bow.
It's complicated. Pero sí. Pero hay un pequeño detalle. Soy nivel 84. Faltan 6 niveles todavía. ¿Por qué estoy peleando con Zodriak en nivel 84? No tengo ni puta idea.
From broken skies fall tears of flame.
What? What? What?
The end has come.
This is nice. The group is trying to figure things out, and everything's okay. Everyone's okay with trying things out. Because we have no idea how to avoid that attack. Thank you, White Mage. 2 healers down. We have to kill it.
Is this the limit of your power? Is this how it ends?
I should have answered a call from work. I'm on vacations. Well done. My preparations are complete and I'm ready to seal Zodriak once more. Withdraw none from this place. The teleporter will deliver you to safety.
Incomplete and insufficient. Of course he was no match. Once again, you have left my best laid plans in ruins. And played your role to perfection. Thus, sealing my victory. From wanted was for you to kill Zodriak. One of many methods to achieve the desired effect. It would have been the same had Xenos died in my place. But what better and more satisfying way to ensure success than to take control myself? My sole regret is that you lived to tell the tale. Even so, I have fulfilled my heart's desire. Let your murder mark the beginning of the end. The coming of the final days!
How quickly strength fades, and blood cools. Old familiar sensations. So many lives, so many deaths. No different this. I close my eyes and slip into the dreamless slumber. A tired song and dance. Routine. Always I wake. But not this time. Nothing left unsaid. Nothing left undone. Inherit my hell. I intone with glee. The man I was would weep for what I have become. The all-consuming contempt. But I've the wisdom of 10 millennia to justify my answer to the question. No value in their existence. Not a whit. For all that I looked. None that I did see. A final chance then for Heidelin and her faithful. In Cataclysm, prove me wrong. I sneer. All shall return to nothingness, as was your will, Emperor Sunday. I, the star, and every living being, consigned to your oblivion.
At last.
Deep breaths, slow and steady. What? You saw it too, yes? The blue star below, thrown into turmoil. Then it was no illusion. All was truth. With the death of Zodriak, the laws of nature over which he presided had begun to unravel. The final days are upon us. What you witnessed was an omen granted by the Echo, a vision of the horrors to come. Time grows short. Xenos.
No. I'll find no fulfillment in a contest with you this day.
Slavering beasts gather at your gates, ravenous and eager. Already you turn to them and away from me. I must go forth once more in search of power far beyond the might of Shinryu. Power to make your heart run over with rage. For the eldest of primals was a betrayal of promise. A pathetic creature incapable of inspiring true despair. That's what I crave. Pure, unadulterated despair.
I will not fight for your amusement or hope we'll win the day. I will not fight for your amusement.
We shall see.
I sense his presence on the moon no longer. If you need not follow, then I beg you stay and listen to what I have to tell you. Of Zodriak, and the end of all things. Before we speak at length, I believe a change of surrounds is in order. I have more than ill tidings to share, you see. I sensed others arriving not long ago. Though my communions with Heidelling have grown infrequent, I have learned enough from her to know that these are your comrades. And as luck would have it, they have already reached my abode. Come, let us join them. Everybody's here. Yes, they are indeed the three I sensed. Dare I ask what happened before we arrived? Maybe presume this being is a native of the moon. Thank goodness you are unharmed. We did what we could to subdue the Tempered before making our way here. Not without casualties, unfortunately. Some few detonated explosives, killing themselves and others. The contingent's healers had their hands full tending to the injured and enthralled when we took our leave. Lest you wonder, Mistress Cryle hath also been delivered unto their care. Serving as a conduit for Heideling's power hath taken its toll, but she will recover in due course. As for Alfino and Alice, they insisted on remaining in Garlemald while we three rushed to your aid. It appears, however, that matters here have already come to a conclusion. But what manner of conclusion, if I might ask? And is this the ally whom Heidelin bade you seek out? He is not unlike the shades of Amarod. Not unlike, perhaps, but not the same. I was created by Heidelin, together with this place. It has ever been my duty to keep vigil over Zodriak, or rather, it was my duty. Oh, they're gonna be shocked when they find out. Then Zodriak is no more. And not without consequence, I'm afraid. For now the delicate weave of the star, preserved by his presence, will begin to unravel. If you mean to avert the final days, you shall have need of... What? Are you all right? My attempts to forestall Zodriak's release have all but exhausted my strength. If you might allow me to rest a short while, I will share with you all I can. Please do. You need not exert yourself on our account. These crystals contain records of your time here, yes? May we peruse them while we wait? By all means. If you would review them chronologically, might I suggest beginning with those on the upper floor? I shall leave that to you, while I see that what can be gleaned from the crystals on these lower levels. Zodriak defeated. While he may have been in an incomplete state, that's nevertheless an impressive feat. But even if you hadn't, his demise was inevitable. Van Daniel would have seen to it one way or another. That said, he probably would have wielded Zodriak's power to wreak untold destruction before taking his own life, making this the better of two unfavorable outcomes. Dost thou suppose our host hath maintained his solitary vigil since the very beginning, without rest or relief? If so, these records comprise the sum total of his existence. We must needs handle them with care. As you gaze into the crystal, ancient knowledge of Zodriak flows through your mind. Daily summary: no abnormalities detected. These appear to be records of a long, lonely vigil on the moon, dating back to the beginning of Zodriak's imprisonment. As you gaze into the crystal, knowledge of past calamities flows through your mind. The records describe how, with each rejoining, Zodriak's thirst for freedom grew, as did the strain on the brands. Maintaining Zodriak's imprisonment appears to tax Heidelin greatly. As you gaze into the crystal, knowledge of past rejoinings flow through your mind. These records describe the Watcher's efforts to prepare in the event Zodriak broke free from his prison. The records go on to describe maintenance carried out regularly with the Loporrits, though it's not clear who or what they are. As you gaze into the crystal, a record of an unexpected visitor flows through your mind. The records note the Watcher's musing when Elidibus is spotted on the moon, though clearly not for the first time. It is clear he and his brethren have a keen interest in freeing Zodriak from his prison, and yet they have made no attempt to destroy the brands. Perhaps they prefer he remain hidden from mortal eyes until the final rejoining. Perhaps they realize we would never dare bring harm to Zodriak, so long as he remains imprisoned. Did you learn anything of import? So it is as we suspected. Maintaining the brands requires a great deal of hair energy and focus, and this cost has grown higher with every rejoining. That would explain why contact with her has become rather infrequent since the 7th Umbral calamity. I too made a rather startling discovery. This heavenly body we know to be the moon was in fact created by Hydaelyn. When the Watcher said he was created together with this place, I thought it only meant this facility. Truly, Hydaelyn's powers are far beyond anything I could have imagined. Did you do it? I did it. I did it. I did the trial. I saw the cutscenes. What can I tell you? I don't think I can tell you anything. I mean, it's not like I can tell you anything. What more can I say? Exactly, I was screaming like, I'm level 84! I thank you for affording me this short reprieve. I don't think anyone expected that to happen at level 84.
It is we who should thank you. The records stored here are nothing short of extraordinary. There is much we could learn of Zodriak and his imprisonment, but perhaps you could offer us more focused guidance. Pray, tell us of the calamity that came before and comes now again.
Long ago, before the Great Sundering, there was but a single world, Etheirys. One day, from within the earth, a terrible cry issued forth, affecting a profound change in all manner of life. We were not exempt. Our creation magics ran rampant, giving shape and form to thoughts of hopelessness and despair. At first, the phenomenon was limited to a single region, but quickly, so very quickly, it spread and engulfed the whole of the star.
Were the ancients ever able to deduce its source?
This is a question that I've been pondering myself for a long time. Okay, so the convocation summoned Zodriak to stop the final days, to save the planet, blah 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 blah. What triggered the final days? Why did the final days happen? It was just some, the world is ending, but why? They were not. However, the convocation struck upon a method to predict where next the corruption would manifest. the etheric energies which flow through all of the creation in the form of various currents. The currents which course through the lands and seas. Those which flow through the very air. And those of a celestial nature which encompass both our star and this moon.
Celestial currents. I cannot say I am familiar with the concept.
Nor would I expect you to be. Few scholars of our time knew of their existence. Their invaluable knowledge helped us to better understand the nature of the calamity. Like the terrestrial ones of earth and air, the celestial currents form a vast network, but the ethereal distribution is not consistent. The Convocation soon realized that the inciting incidents occurred in regions where the flow was weakest. Correlation without clear cause, ultimately. Nevertheless, on closer study, a stagnancy of ether was observed in nearby currents.
And so they sought a means to harness the forces of darkness, of activity and growth. Thus was Zodriak conceived. No less a power than a god's could set right the laws of nature and quicken the flow of ether within the star.
Precisely. With the advent of Zodriak, our end was averted.
Emet-Selch claimed that those who summoned Hydaelyn did so because they saw Zodiac's power as a threat. Is that true?
Indeed, there was a faction opposed to Zodiac's creation, but their aim was never to unmake him. They understood the continued preservation of the natural order was dependent on his very existence. Until we could identify and address the underlying cause of the final days, he would need to remain, for his departure would set in motion those apocalyptic forces once more. Hydaelyn recognized this as well, and so, rather than destroy, she sundered Zodriak, herself and the star, into lesser reflections, that she might confine him in this place. I could have sworn she beseeched me to banish the darkness. Then what she told me in the ethereal sea was false. That the two once dwelled as one until Zodriak grew hungry for power, upsetting the balance tricked them? Not quite a lie, though a rather gross embellishment. But knowing what you know now, you must surely realize why she might opt to obfuscate and mislead. Hydaelyn and Zodriak are both constructs of man, approximations of perfection limited by our own imperfections. Zodriak was, without question, the more powerful of the two, having been born from the sacrifice of half Etheirys' population. Thus was it necessary for Hydaelyn to commit herself wholly to his defeat. Still more effort was needed to confine him. Maintaining the brands taxed her greatly. With what power she dared spare, she cried out to any who might listen and offered her blessing to those who heeded her call. Though it was likely within her power to do so, I believe she did not wish to speak of Etheirys and her history. Like Zodriak, Hydaelyn's purpose is a reflection of her creators. They wish to look to the future and not linger in a prison of the past.
The Ascians set in motion 7 rejoinings before we came to oppose them. How many more worlds would have been lost had we not placed our faith in her? How many more souls living in the present would have been snuffed out for the sake of those long dead?
Well, in light of recent events, I see no reason to doubt your words. And even if Hydaelyn is not a god in truth, if Minfilia believed that we should trust in her plans, then I choose to do just that. Which brings me to a rather important question. Let's suppose we try but fail to stop this second coming of the final days. Should the source fall, what will become of the other worlds?
The nomenclature is more fitting that you know. Bring ruin to the source, and its reflections will share in its fate. Uh-oh. Ah, it is ready. This way, if you would be so kind. I am expecting something to happen. A beautiful sight, is it not?
Yes, but what is it?
Hydaelyn knew better than any that her power was not absolute. Indeed, she has ever struggled to hold Zodriak and his faithful at bay. She feared the worst, and so made preparations. In the event of his demise, there would be a contingency. This moon is more than a prison. It is a vessel capable of bearing the people of Etheirys to safe harbor. What the f***? You need not go far to find its pilots. In fact, I should be happy to take you to them. And fulfill my final duty as Watcher in the Dark. I should very much like to hear more of this extraordinary story. The moon is a ship? Well, now I've heard everything. It may be true, but others will struggle to believe it. I can scarcely believe it myself. The time has come for you to be on your way. The crater at the heart of Mare Lamentorum, where Zodriak was imprisoned, it's not so easily traversed, however. Let us call upon Argos, the familiar who you met earlier. He should have no trouble bearing you across. Doggo, as Hydaelyn created me as the jailer, so too did she create Argos as the guard. It is his nature to appear when needed, and yet he is nowhere to be found. Strange. Mayhap the imbalancing of ether has affected him. Let us make for the crushing brand, and attempt to call upon him there. You need but recall the path you walked with Argos before, and you will find your way. If he labors in service to Hydaelyn's plan, I see no reason not to do as he suggests. Shall we make for this crushing brand then? With a little preparation, it might be possible to traverse the gap on foot. Then again, it would be a long, long way down if one should slip, perhaps another time. So close and yet so far. Does not the harsh terrain remind you of somewhere we have been before? The Dravanian Forelands, aye? A place that rejects the intrusion of outsiders, where solitude reigns supreme. At the very least, it's unsuitable for Zodriak's prison. Okay, Naught could prepare me for the boundless beauty of Etheirys, shining, shimmering amidst the sea of stars. Has the name of the planet always been Etheirys? Urianger talks about it like, ah, yeah, that's Etheirys. The place we seek is just ahead of the Chloropos Grot. You see, Argos cannot manifest without sufficient concentrations of ambient ether. You would be hard-pressed to find a greater confluence than inside this cavern. Follow me. I get that. But I mean, in the game, inside the game, I mean, the first time, I think, my memory is not that good, the first time I have ever seen the name Etheirys being mentioned was in a couple of cutscenes ago. And Urianger, that was like, ah, so beautiful, Etheirys. I mean, you have known it as Hydaelyn your entire life, and one weird alien from the moon tells you, oh no, the name is Etheirys, and you are, ah, Etheirys. Weird. Yes, here will do nicely. The lunar spongoi draw ether from the ground, which is then dispersed in the air. At present, however, the ambient energies are not quite sufficient for Argos to manifest. Might you be willing to spare some of your own to help the spongoi along? To summon the doggo? Of course. A good boy. Pet. Argos manifests in a flash. He seems glad to see you again. A most fascinating creation of Hydaelyn's, would you not agree? Should the need arise, he is even able to create reflections of himself on a whim. Though I assure you, it was no reflection which accompanied you earlier to the brand. No, Argos was quite eager to be at your side then, as he is now, it seems. I cannot recall when last he showed such an affinity for anyone. Indeed, I thought him more likely to shy away from you and your companions. Perhaps it was more than a sense of duty that compelled him to aid you before. As for your companions, many doggos. Unexpected, but greatly appreciated. And I believe we are all ready. Then let us return outside, that you may cross the chasm. I was expecting something a little more intimidating and less man's best friend. To whom would Hydaelyn entrust the command of so grand a vessel, I wonder? Dalamud has long been described as the loyal hound of Memphina due to its relation to the Greater Moon. It seems highly improbable, if not impossible, for ancient peoples to have known of Argos, but now I wonder whether there is some connection. Argos favors you with what could almost be described as a conspiratorial grin. Your destination is the structure there across the Cradle of Darkness. But climb onto Argos' back and he will take care of the rest. Once you arrive, it should not take long to find the ship's crew. The facility is designed to rouse them from their slumber in the event of Zodriak's destruction. Heed their counsel. Together you may guide the star and its people to a kinder fate. This is where we part ways, but know that I shall ever be watching and praying for your success. Our allies' assurances notwithstanding, we cannot be certain what awaits us on the other side, so perhaps it would be best if we did not all go at once. I propose the two of us cross first, while Thancred and Urianger wait here. Yes. Whoa. Flying doggo! A malefic ether yet permeates from the crater, remnants of Zodriak, most like. Oh. Just a little further. That's a big door. This structure is enormous, though this is hardly surprising given the size of the average Amarotin. Apologies for the wait. Right then, let us head inside and... oh. Dogos. Most intriguing. A means by which he conserveth energy, mayhap? Well, I certainly wouldn't want him to blink out of existence on our account, palpable as he has been. Thank you, Argos. We'll take things from here. Stay here what it's safe, alright? Be a good boy. If Argos is to remain without, let us not keep him waiting over long. That is a big, big place. Oh, Etheirys. Truly, a marvel beyond description. Its scale is reminiscent of Amarot, or rather the replica we visited on the first.
Our moonship pilot should be around here somewhere. Is that right?
Oh, there they are. Bunny!
Look lively, everyone! I know, this 1243rd inspection is a mite ahead of schedule, but it is of the utmost importance, for Zodriak, alas, is no more. As of now, our mighty moon has a new purpose, to bear the people of Etheirys to safety! Our time has come, my friends! We must be swifter than swift. There is much to do before our guests arrive.
Well, I'm a little confused. The ship is meant to take the people of Etheirys to safety. Does that mean the people of the source? To safety? Which means the source will be destroyed, or are we talking someone else?
I expect your workstations to be immaculate, and don't forget to relay our signal to Etheirys.
Relay our signal to Etheirys.
Questions? Yes? No? Maybe so? No? Then hop to it!
Tis a rather curious crew she hath chosen. Their endearing forms intended to ease the passengers' hearts, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Given the present crisis, idling... Given the present crisis, idling doubtless sought to facilitate cooperation betwixt pilot and passenger. Indeed, it would require a heart as hard as diamond to raise one's voice in anger to beings possessed of such profound saccharinity. Saccharinity, what the f***? I find Urianger's reasoning somewhat flimsy, but the crew seems amicable enough. Now, for a moment, I am glad I did not pay the Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster, because if I had, this music would have been a bit fresher in my mind, and not being fresh, and listening to this beautiful rendition, it brings me back. They must be the Loporrits mentioned in the Watcher's records. Not at all what I expected, but the Watcher did bid us heed their counsel. I assume the one who gave that rousing speech was their leader, though we might have to ask about in order to track him down. Come on then, let us be about it. Final Fantasy XIV can take every inspiration it wants from Final Fantasy IV, and it will just melt my heart. The Loporrits all appear to have set about their task. Whither is the leader, I wonder? Such a fascinating apparatus, though it's hard to believe it could house so many crew members. Even so, there is nothing else to suggest other types of accommodation. Hum, hum, hum. The leader of the crew, not me, I'm afraid. Singing Way is the name. I'm in charge of the construction and maintenance of the atmospheric circulation system. Only the crispest, cleanest air for the people of Etheirys, and that's a promise. I only saw them from a distance, but their fur was brown, if that helps at all. Dosing Loporrit. Leader? No. Slipping Way. My job is perhaps I'd better ask. Oh, what? How the? When did you get here? Take me to your leader. Were you the one giving orders earlier? What was that supposed to be? Your humming, if one can even call it that, is atrociously off-key. It should sound more like this. As leader of the Loporrits, I cannot allow substandard attempts at musicality to go unremarked, even if you are a guest, but being the magnanimous sort that I am, I'll forgive you this once. Well, looks like you beat us here. Your friends, I take it. Is this all of them? A group comprised entirely of children? What must their parents be thinking? This isn't a nursery after all, though perhaps we should build one. Or did we build one already? No matter. You needn't worry your pretty little heads. All will be well, I promise. But goodness me, we shouldn't be standing about gawping. I must take you to meet the others. If you could run along back towards the entrance, you'll find a path that leads to the central platform on the upper floor. There's no wrong way to reach it, but it's a large glowing ball at the center, if you should find yourselves lost. I shall gather the others and meet you there. Well then, back to the upper floor it is. The etheric composition and density of this sphere is quite similar to the crystalline concepts we have seen before. It likely shares their capacity for storing memories and knowledge. It is astounding how the Loporrits, despite their diminutive stature, are able to maintain such gargantuan facilities. Given their size, getting from one end of this place to the other must be exhausting. I honestly do not know how they do it. Visitor, at last, welcome!
My name is Livingway, and we are the Loporrits, created for the express purpose of commanding this ship and bearing the people of Etheirys to a brave new world. More specifically, I am the one whom she charged with the execution of her most vital plans. You might say I'm her right paw. Livingway's the name, map reader and navigator of the heavens.
Pleasure to meet you all, but I'm still trying to make sense of this.
Confusion and bewilderment are completely understandable. Fear not, I shall walk you through it. The people of Etheirys, through no fault of your own, I'm sure, set in motion a series of events that, unfortunately, culminated in Zodriak's obliteration.
Oh, totally is my fault. Kinda.
Acutely aware of the imminent crisis, your parents sent you little ones on ahead while they began the necessary preparations. Still not following? No? Very well, I shall elaborate further.
Okay.
Here we have Etheirys, your home, and the moon, where we are now.
That was pretty high tech.
Without Zodriak around to keep things lively, so to speak, the celestial currents of the star have doubtless begun to degrade. A calamity of apocalyptic proportions will be visited upon Etheirys, bringing an end to all life. Very sad,
So too hath the Watcher claimed. By thine unperturbed countenance, I gather this eventuality was anticipated.
The doom and gloom? Oh yes, quite expected. Imagine, if you will, that Etheirys is a delicious carrot that I've forgotten to eat and left out in the midday sun. The most earnest wishes or prayers will not stop it from rotting to the core. So sadly, there's nothing to be done but to abandon said carrot, Etheirys, in case the metaphor is lost on you, to its grisly fate.
And this moon will serve as the vessel to deliver us to a new home.
Just so! We will gather up as many people, supplies, and resources as our stores will hold. And then, once everyone everyone is aboard. It's off to another star. Easier said than done, admittedly, for one does not simply hop from star to star on a whim, which is precisely why we've spent countless years constructing the most propulsive of propulsion systems. We ought to make it to our destination in 2 shakes of a rabbit's tail.
Impressive technology. I dare say it is beyond anything we have ever seen.
No need to shower us with praise. All we've done is faithfully carry out the instructions left to us by Hydaelyn. Back in the old days, when she was still just Venar, she was dedicated to the study of the world and its inner workings. And the Watcher, the real one, not the simulacrum you met, was one of her fellow researchers. We and this wondrous vessel masquerading as a moon are products of their knowledge and know-how.
There's certainly more to you all than meets the eye. Might I ask where exactly you intend to take us?
We identified a few promising candidates for resettlement some time ago, but we cannot guarantee that they are fit for habitation. Moreover, the ship can only travel in short bursts. We intend to go down our list, hopping from star to star, until we find one suitable for resettlement. No need to worry, though. The vessel is being refurbished with accommodation for an extended stay as we speak. While we did have to rely upon outside help to determine what amenities were essential, I dare say we have risen to the challenge.
Help? From who?
From you and yours! Who else? Each time we woke to perform regularly scheduled maintenance, we were greeted by the resources you sent us. What better way to learn about preferences and proclivities of our present-day charges? Ah, but you're still adorable little children. Perhaps your elders were responsible for the deliveries.
I'm not sure what led you to conclude otherwise, but I can assure you that we are all grown men and women. And I very much doubt my elders know this place exists, much less how to send you so much as a starlight missive.
What? Then who in blazes let you on my moon? Hydaelyn herself led you here. You don't say! Well, that's really not children. Then why are you so small and stunted? Like little baby carrot people.
Well, Amarotines were a great deal taller. In the present day, persons of such prodigious size are exceedingly rare.
So, you're saying everyone's not like the Watcher? Oh, confound it all! Someone could have at least scribbled a note about your profound miniaturization.
That tome in my possession.
Oh, this? One of the first books sent to us. A compendium of the people of Etheirys, with a few blank pages at the back for minor corrections and updates as needed. The sum total of our knowledge of your kind is contained in these pages. I thought it was abridged and made small for our benefit, but this isn't a regular-sized book, is it?
Oh, man.
Building way, can you hear me? Yes, we're all very busy. Change of plans. I need you to rebuild the domiciles at 1/3 the scale. All of them. Yes, all of them, and but me no buts. See to it with all
Perhaps you could tell us a bit more about your terrestrial collaborators.
Yes, in due time. But first, I'd like to hear more about... If it's all the same, I'd rather not risk any other complications due to outdated knowledge of our passengers-to-be.
Living Way is so powerful. My GPU is almost at 80 degrees. Just from watching Living Way. It's amazing! Oh dear, I certainly hope Building Way can complete the renovations before more guests arrive. Or perhaps he should leave them as they are. That way you would have more space to lounge about. I should have realized something was amiss when Living Way referred to us as children. What other delightful misconceptions do they hold, I wonder? It is unfortunate that the domiciles were constructed in error, but their willingness to perform such sweeping renovations is a testament to their commitment. I cannot fathom the resources required for facilities so vast. Why do I get the feeling we're going to have our hands full dealing with the Loporrits? Right then, now that you're here, we need you to teach us all you can about your people, and quickly. It won't be long before the final days are upon us in all their terrible grandeur, so it is imperative that we be prepared to receive our passengers-to-be. If there is anything at all, that may displease them, it must be addressed post-haste. And address it we shall. Here at Bestways Burrow, we have assembled everything required to offer our guests the best way forward. And we have produced myriad amenities we understand to be essential for day-to-day living, and I wish to hear your opinions on them. I'm sure you have all worked up an appetite, so when don't we start with foodstuffs? Meet me at the Carrotorium, and we'll see about filling your bellies. She does not want her enthusiasm. The notion of Etheirys rotting to its core being a matter of course is rather concerning, though. Nevertheless, let us take this opportunity to learn more of the Loporrits and this vessel. Wow! The Carrotorium. Hast thou spied the peculiar sentinels patrolling the vicinity? Approach them with caution, or better yet, not at all, for they make no distinction between friend or foe. Given the earlier confusion regarding our size, I cannot help but wonder if they even know the first thing about us. Am I the only one who suspects we're not going to find anything edible whatsoever? You are a lot smaller than we expected, but I trust you still have large appetites, yes? Welcome to the Carrotorium. Here we create prototypes of the various sundries required by our soon-to-be passengers. Allow me to introduce the head of foodstuff production. Cooking Way, pleasure to meet you all. Our work has involved no small amount of trial and error, but after many cycles of painstaking labor, I dare say we have created the finest cuisine our guests could ask for. I have learned all about the essential nutrients for a healthy and balanced diet from the reference materials we received. Why, I have practically worn the words from those invaluable pages. Naturally, we have also considered ease of growth and production. We will not want for ingredients. I must insist you try some. We have fresh stock recently prepared on account of, well, because we just woke up, and we're all quite famished. Hop along the platforms here and you'll find the storage unit full to bursting with delectable delights. Help yourself to anything you like. You open the storage unit and find a rainbow-colored assortment of carrots. The unassuming orange carrot, the peculiar-looking blue carrot, the vibrant yellow carrot, the ominous crimson carrot. I'll take a moment to reconsider. From front to tip, no scratches or blemishes mar this immaculate specimen. Nevertheless, if not for its excessive length and girth, one might think it was an ordinary carrot. The blue variety is strangely supple to the touch and melts vaguely of mint. Its excessive length and girth only adds to the dubiousness of this so-called carrot. While it has no peculiar smell to speak of, the yellow variant is unusually light and springy. Its qualities, together with its excessive length and girth, would lead anyone to question whether it is indeed a carrot. Crimson carrot. The soft texture and redolent aroma of this crimson creation valley is a staggering weight. The excessive length and girth only compound the mystery, leaving you perplexed as to the nature of this carrot. Let's go with the unassuming one. On second thought, you elect to simply take an obscenely large carrot for now. Due to its bizarre qualities, it would be prudent to ask Cooking Way whether it is safe to eat first. Obscenely large carrot. Even Viera are like to swoon at the sight of so grand a carrot. That or be offended by all those who assume that they... This is perfect. This is perfect. So, did any of our selections set your mouth to watering? Ah, yes, a fine choice. One of my personal favorites, actually. Please, again. I'm eager to hear what you think. With great trepidation, you take a bite out of the carrot. There is a satisfying crunch as you sink your teeth into the orange skin, and a warm, tingling sensation runs down your spine. With the second bite, a wave of euphoria washes over you, as dew drown in bliss. Alas, as you finish, the elation fades, leaving you with a desperate craving for another carrot. Carrot of happiness. Southern cream carrots. What did you think? Unlike anything you have ever tasted, yes? The carrot of happiness is full to bursting with nutrients and is guaranteed to leave you feeling satiated. It's a staple among us Loporrits. We have plenty of other varieties too, blending carrots to improve blood flow, dream carrots to help with sleep. So you see, we have a carrot for every occasion. These carrots are extraordinary, but what if I don't like carrots? I can certainly see demand for this in Charlayan. Then why do you seem so disappointed? If they're lacking somehow, we need to know. I take it you too had a wide assortment of carrots to choose from and naught else? If I may ask, what exactly did these collaborators share with you about cuisine on Etheirys? Surely you are aware we have an abundance of dishes and foods you could emulate. Of course we are, but well, it was only quite recently that we established contact. Even holding a conversation was a struggle at first, so imagine our supplies when they sent a mountain of books and documents with no clear instructions. The sheer amount of information was overwhelming. If it wasn't for that encyclopedia I found, we would have been at a loss where to begin. Mountain of books and documents. And so we decided, rather than divide our resources to prepare a variety of middling and potentially unsatisfying meals, it would be more proficient to devote our efforts to the production of a single perfect food. That's all well and good, but man cannot live on raw carrots alone. Have you considered cooking them? You mean steaming, boiling, roasting and the like? I suppose we could prepare the carrots in other ways. But our primary concern was efficiency, and what's more efficient than sinking your teeth into a carrot fresh from production? A rather strange approach to take for one named Cooking Way, isn't it? Well, technically speaking, Cooking Way isn't my given name. When first created, we were all named in the old tongue. You know, that otherwise impenetrable parlance the Watcher speaks. After we received a great tome of words, a dictionary that is, from our collaborators, we learned your language. Adverbs, gerunds, present continuous verb conjugations, just the basics. Then we found the terms related to our given tasks, and used them to form new names. Aren't they helpful? No, not really, but it does explain a great deal. Wherefore didst thy kind deem such a change necessary? When the rest of your people arrive, we want to be certain they understand immediately what each of us does. You would never be able to pronounce our original names anyway. I see. I hope our critiques, such as they are, were helpful to you. Though if you should decide to preserve flora and fauna from Etheirys as well, you would be able to offer the passengers a more balanced diet. Until such a day, one I pray comes sooner than later, it would appear there is naught but carrots on the menu. I think we have had our fill of carrots for now. Let's move on to other necessities, shall we? Our clothing production is sure to impress. This way. Did you suppose the clothes they prepared will be as grossly oversized as the carrots? Garments born of the heavens, crafted with methods ancient and forgotten. Dress befitting we who walk in shade, stewards of the esoteric. It's hardly sun-silk tapestries, but perhaps we'll be pleasantly surprised. Here we are, the apparel production station. We have chosen to employ more traditional methods for this task, creation magics. Hydaelyn, in her infinite wisdom, blessed us with the self-same affinity for magic her people possessed. We have other amazing talents, of course, and I know you're dying to hear about them, but I will regale you with the details another time. That said, we did run into a spot of trouble at first. Our magic alone was not sufficient to see our work done. In the end, we discovered crystallized ether was a wonderful catalyst that could provide us with extra Vs we needed. My, how resourceful. Ah, the sweet sound of recognition. You will also be impressed to hear we have read all about your ability of changing attire to match your chosen profession. For the sake of efficiency, I presume. It has also been taken into account without designs. But why take my word for it when you can simply try it on our clothes? Make yourselves known to the workers and they will see to the rest. Ah, it's you, one of the visitors from Etheirys. Goodness me, Mappingway wasn't kidding. You really are smaller than the Watcher. Alright, you're here to try on a set of clothes, yes? What would you have me fashion for you today? An outfit that embodies my bloodlust. Something simple, yet functional. A fashionable and refined ensemble. Let's go with fashionable. Because fashion is a true endgame. Fashionable, right. This will only take a moment. Okay. There we are, all finished. A perfect fit, if I do say so myself. I'll be honest, I know nothing of fashion. I know, let alone fashion of theirs, but I wager no one down there has ever worn anything like this fine ensemble. Perhaps you can start a new trend? Would you look at that? Speechless. And there I thought you may not like it. If you have a mind to try something else, why not speak with my fellow artisans? I'm sure they would be happy to oblige. Ah! No one said you would be coming. How can I help you? You wish to try my clothes? Really? Of course, it would be my honor. Do you have anything in mind? Got anything with a little more flair? I'm looking for clothes with an altogether different design. Surprise me. Surprise me. I think I can handle that. Let's see. This should do. Some of my best work yet. It's a relatively new concept incorporating an idea that's never been tried with clothing before. Fragrance. Can you smell the carrots? Ah, simply divine. I was worried how the concept would turn out when you put it to the proof, but it looks stunning on you. Won't you go and show Livingway? I'm sure she's eager to see what we have come up with. My, don't we look splendid? The result of much trial and error, but I know quality work when I see it. Shh, you needn't speak. I can see your adoration for the moon and Loporrits in your eyes. No doubt your friends feel the same having sampled our creations. Sorry to have kept you waiting. They insist that we sample all of their concepts ere we returned. Verily, this is an ensemble most becoming. I think it's past time we return these clothes. Best race, yes. I was so confident our garments would meet with your approval. Whatever are we doing wrong? The Watcher taught us that, in his time, everyone wore the same robes. To do otherwise was against social etiquette. We thought we could appeal to modern taste by tailoring the robes to specific professions, but... Please, you mustn't be so hard on yourself. Should we resort to evacuating the people of Etheirys, they will most certainly have a need of your attire. It is clear you spared no effort in addressing our needs, but you must understand that we are not quite so homogeneous. Homogeneous? Speaking for myself, what I wear now better suits my tastes, even if it is of inferior make. But there are others whose choices may be influenced by traditions or personal experience. Rather than make assumptions for the whole, you must consider the individual and their potential preferences. I fear we have underestimated the complexity and diversity of your people. Even if we had memorized every tome we received, I doubt we would have fared much better. Maybe we're doing you a disservice trying to shower you with our baubles and frippery, thinking it was for your benefit when you would be better off on your own. There are some who might agree, people who prefer to keep others at arm's length, even when they know they shouldn't. As one such former fool, I would like to ask you a question. This plan to evacuate and escape the final days, did it account for the reflections of the souls as well? Nope. Not that I'm aware of. We were born of Hydaelyn's love for Etheirys, and the salvation of the people on that star, and that star alone, has ever been our aim. Surely it's better to devote ourselves to saving one world than to divide our efforts across 14 and risk failing them all. I suppose you're right. Livingway, might we have leave to explore Bestways Burrow unattended? You have given us much to think about. Why, certainly. Until later, then. If I may, I should like to accompany thee a while longer. Really? I mean, you're more than welcome to. There was actually something I wished to speak with you about. Let's be off then, shall we? My apologies. I wasn't trying to spy or anything. Everyone's been talking about the visitors come from Etheirys, and I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I was excited at first, but now I'm worried. What if the people of Etheirys refuse to come? What if we can't save them? It's clear we have made a mess of things. Oh, but wait, you still haven't visited the domiciles. Once you see them, you'll understand how wonderful the moon truly is. I'm sure of it. I'll be waiting for you by the teleporter near the entrance. Oh, and the name's Growing Way, by the way. See you soon. You're here. You're really here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, what should I call you? Sagasite Luxalui, eh? Crikey, even your names are amazing. Well, Sagasite, we'll be using this teleporter to enter the residential area. Whenever you're ready. Proceed to the residential area? Yes.
Ready in the teleporter. Huh? Access to living quarters restricted due to reconstruction. Then where is it? Oh no!
A private audience, as thou didst request, for reasons I know not.
precaution. I'd rather I didn't have to ask the question at all, but I take my responsibilities very, very seriously. Do you and your friends, by any chance, find our accommodation wanting? Be honest, brutally even.
It would be ungracious of me to belittle the efforts of the Endine.
Lovely sentiment, really. But the disappointment is writ plain on your comrades' faces. It's all the more frustrating since no one will come out and say what they find wanting. If there are faults in our work, we need to know. We can, we will do better. But time is not on our side. The final days will wait for no one. If your people are to be saved, we must take quick and decisive action. This vessel must serve as a home for as many passengers as possible, for far longer than we... Which brings me to my request. Our collaborators on Etheirys are doing what they can to prepare for the voyage. Would you be willing to go and lend them a hand? Having seen the moon for yourself, you could speak to its many splendors, learn what else they might require, and assuage whatever concerns they have.
Wherefore wouldst thou entrust me with such a task?
How to put it? You're the only one who appears not to be wholly unsatisfied with our work. Oh, quite good at pretending that's the case, at least. Calm, collected, tactful to a fault. Very particular with your words, too. You understand that, in the face of great danger, one cannot pursue perfection at the expense of practicality. The difficult choices must often be made for the greater good.
And so fate doth conspire to set my feet upon this path once more.
Come again?
Idle musings. 'Tis no trifle, thou dost ask. Yet full well do I understand the urgency and necessity.
Oh, dear me! Dear me! I was terribly sorry for the mix-up. It's a bit of a malfunction. I hadn't realized the residential quarters were inaccessible, you see. But you're still in one piece. So, all's well that ends well, yes? Won't happen again. I promise.
Gosh, that was embarrassing. I promise to be more careful from now on. Since the residential quarters are closed for now, I have rerouted the teleporter to allow travel between floors instead. Hopefully it proves useful in the meantime. A shame you couldn't see it though. You really would have liked it. It may not seem like it, but we have been planning for this far longer than I would care to admit. Each time we woke up, we would have long discussions about how to save as many of you as we can. It felt like everyone had an opinion on this or that. But the one thing we all agreed upon was that the people of Etheirys wouldn't take action to save themselves until it was far too late. That's why we're striving to make the moon a vibrant, magical place they would hop at the chance to visit, rather than waiting for the flames of oblivion to get them off their tails and force them to accept our invitation. The residential quarters may not be up to necessary standards just yet, but there are plenty of other places worth seeing. You have already had a look around the Carrotorium, but wait until you see what's waiting for you at the east end of the burrow. Follow me. Good, you're here. Through this door is the greatest Endsvale. It was named as such because it's the veil to end all veils, the most beautiful forest you will ever see. We understand the people of Etheirys enjoy taking leisurely walks through natural spaces and the like, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. How about we start with a nice stroll to the fountain, this way? So what did you think of the forest? Isn't it positively pleasant? Simply sublime? I couldn't see the forest or the trees. I didn't see any... Wait, you don't mean those crystals out there? It is as transcendent as burying your face in a chocobus plumage and taking a good long way. Right you are. Our forest is made of crystals and constructs, dotting the landscape as far as the eye can see. Building this place was a challenge, let me tell you. Since we were born here, we have never seen trees in person before, let alone a forest. The information sent by our collaborators was quite enlightening, but after much deliberation, we decided to use crystalline constructs in place of living trees, and thanks to our atmospheric circulation system, this place produces air as clean as that you would find in a forest on Etheirys. The fountain here behind us, powered by a rather large crystal adorning its top, plays a vital role in supplying us with fresh water. Much time and effort was spent making it the most spherical of spheres, and I dare say the unparalleled roundness speaks for itself. I enjoy nothing more than a nice long stretch and a spot of relaxation whenever I come up here. You look like you could do with a stretch yourself. That's the spirit. I feel more relaxed simply watching you, a sight worth the many years spent building this place. If it's not too much to ask, it's always been a dream of mine to take a walk through this forest with someone from Etheirys. Could we maybe... You will? Oh, be still my quivering whiskers. I was thinking that I could be more helpful to you by teaching you a little about the moon and what it is we do. When we were first created, the moon's sole purpose was to hold Zodriak, and there was absolutely nothing to be found here. Eventually, Hydaelyn gave us our first task: furnish the moon with propulsion systems capable of facilitating travel to other stars. It sounds impressive, and I suppose in some respects it is, but it was only possible thanks to all the knowledge Hydaelyn shared with us. We also had a lot of time to get it done. 6,000 years, give or take. But anyway, let's keep going. This may come as a surprise, but we didn't begin building the habitable areas until after the propulsion systems were ready. Considering how long it took, I wish we had started sooner. Who would have thought we would need 4,000 years to make all this? It clearly wasn't work you dared to rush either. We had to create infrastructure and countless supporting systems, some of which wouldn't be operational until hundreds of years later. And then there was this brief period where our productivity came to a screeching halt. When that bizarre red satellite was sent up from Etheirys, the Elegant's mischief, I think. We thought maybe some new nefarious actor was colluding with Zodriak. All we could do was stand by and brace ourselves for the worst. I can't tell you how relieved we were when Hydaelyn informed us of his destruction. Oh yes, there was much joyous humming that day. Say, did you notice anything peculiar about the treetops? I mean, apart from the fact they're massive crystals and not trees. I'll give you a hint. It's the golden rings emanating from the glowing spheres. Along with the device fixed near the ceiling, they fulfill a role similar to our sun, and do so better even. The sun and similar celestial objects in the great expanse radiate energy that is harmful to your bodies. These rings shield you from that energy while allowing you to bathe in the perfect amount of sunlight, or rather a close approximation of it. Pretty impressive, wouldn't you say? Oh, and if you look closely, you'll see different types of trees, have ever so slightly different curvature. Yes, indeed, this forest truly is the greatest. There was something else I wanted to tell you about. Oh, alright. The propulsion systems and habitat facilities were completed around 2,000 years ago, and with that, the most important features were fit for purpose, which was all well and good, except we still knew absolutely nothing about the present-day people of Etheirys. Why not go and visit Etheirys yourself, you might ask? Strictly forbidden. Were our technology or knowledge of the moon's true purpose exploited for evil ends, the results could be disastrous. Then there were a few more rejoinings, and it became increasingly difficult to converse with Heidelin. Fearful we might lose the ability to communicate with her altogether, we besieged her to find people on Etheirys we could trust to help. We were quite fortunate everything worked out as it did. So who are the collaborators? With the exception of routine inspections and maintenance, we remained asleep and waited, hopeful Heidelin would find someone who would help us. Eventually she did, and though her power was waning, we were able to speak to them directly for a short while. We shared with them everything we could, including our knowledge of the heavens and a means to travel here to the moon. They certainly didn't waste any time with what we taught them. No more than a few years after that, our collaborators found a means to convey messages and supplies to us from down below. With all the letters, books, and other resources they sent, we learned enough to start making more meaningful changes to the moon. And now you're here, hopefully enjoying yourself as much as I am. I knew you would like Greatest Endsvale, I knew it. Thank you again for coming here, by the way. I know it was just a walk through the forest, but it meant a lot to me. There you are. I take it you have already received the grant too. A shame we missed it. Growing Way, I have been looking all over for you. Oh, is this about the teleporter to the residential area? No, never mind that. We have more pressing matters at hand. I will be calling an emergency meeting shortly, and your attendance is required. Really? I can't imagine why you would need me there, but if you insist. We won't be away long, so you all are more than welcome to continue looking about the burrow. Now, come along, Growing Way. Before we arrived, you seemed to be in the midst of a rousing conversation with your guide. Did you learn anything of import? They have spent 12,000 years preparing for this? With the appointed hour fast approaching, I can certainly understand their restlessness, but still. It remains to be seen if the people can be persuaded to evacuate when there are yet no signs of the final days. What's more, the technology of this place defies imagination. I doubt there are many who would readily come to terms with living in such surroundings. Whoever these collaborators are, unless they are possessed of the world's most charming personalities or a means to forcibly evacuate people, they will meet with a great deal of resistance. Indeed, even if faced with annihilation, the decision to forsake all one knows cannot be made lightly. Forgive me, friends, but I must beg your leave. There is another matter which yet begs for mine attention. Of course, we can accompany you if you like. Nay, that will not be necessary, if you will excuse me. What do you suppose has suddenly tickled his fancy? It is clear now that difficult decisions lie ahead of us. Preparation for the evacuation of Etheirys is indeed crucial, but I am not yet willing to forsake our world and its reflections, and I trust I am not alone in my reticence. Did Urianger seem strange to you? More so than usual, I mean. I know he has a penchant for keeping his own counsel, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. Would you go and see if he's alright? Ishtola and I will remain here and see what else we can learn about the final days. If you hurry, perhaps you can catch up to him. Urianger appears to be heading towards the entrance to Bestways Burrow. Urianger ventures off into Mare Lamentorum for reasons unknown. You must tread carefully, else he might sense your presence. Oh! What are you up to?
Thine arrival is timely as ever. Thou didst chance to overhear my conversation with Living Way, I presume? 'Twas not mine intent to move in shadow. Nevertheless, I have been asked to do that and more yet again. Is it so plain that these strangers could intuit it at a glance? My capacity for silence and secrecy and duplicity? When Grahatir did contrive to deliver the first at the price of his own life, I was complicit in the scheme. A sacrifice averted for a mercy. Would that I could say the same for Menphilia. One life for one world. And by that bloody bargain brokered by my hand were the scions robbed of a dear comrade, and Flamine her beloved daughter. Two souls, whose selflessness was beyond measure, whose resolve was unshakable. They would not be moved even had I thought to protest. But protest I did not. Far from it. I pushed them forward. No effort did I make to seek out alternatives, ones that would not demand such terrible costs. That resignation weigheth heavy on my mind, as does the memory of another lost to mine inaction. Dearest Moonbreeder, who did face death unflinching, that we might secure a means to bring low the Ascians. In her hour of need, I did naught. Dutiful disciple of Louisoix, ever looking to the greater good. Had I shut mine eyes and bid her live instead, mayhap she would be with us today. Selfish wants, born of everlasting regrets. Most days I put them from my mind, but could think of naught else when asked to swallow the same bitter draught. Subterfuge and sacrifice. Mayhap the right moral choice, but one I regard with great trepidation. The calamity of Amarot was a tragedy beyond reckoning, one which must never again come to pass. Thus must we struggle, haunted by ghosts of those we have lost, clinging to those we pray we can yet save. But what of those we cannot? How do we make peace with the dreadful algebra of necessity?
How do we make peace with the dreadful algebra of necessity? Sometimes there's no right answer. Have faith in yourself and your decisions. Take heart and protect with those you can. Would that we had time to weigh the costs.
Sage counsel indeed. I see. Wisdom as befits a great worm. Curious that he should think thee in need of such encouragement. Strange. Scarcely can I remember when last we spoke alone, and so candidly. I thank thee. For all my supposed skill with words, I find it difficult to express such private thoughts. As for the Loporrits' proposition, I will take time and consider how to respond. 'Twould be to our mutual benefit if we could converse more openly with our aspiring caretakers. A concern I should be glad to address on the Scion's behalf. To dispense with all pretense and bare one's heart to another is a frightening thing indeed. But we cannot move forward ere we take that bold first step. A lesson I have learned many times before. And today.
What are they saying? Curse these ears! I've heard bugger all! No matter. We've got our plans.
In truth, my reason for traveling hither was to effect a plan of my own, a plan which may pave a way forward for us all. May, I say, for there is no guarantee of success. 'Tis the reason I set out alone. That failure, should it come, would be mine to bear alone. Yet thou standest before me with proffered hand and open heart. 'Twould be remiss of me to refuse thy amity, and so I ask, wouldst thou join in mine endeavour? I thank thee for accompanying me. 'Tis a simple plan in truth. We shall not be long away from Bestways Burrow. Difficult decisions must needs be made in the coming days, but I nevertheless believe we are all of one mind in our desire to save the people of Etheirys. To make clear our resolve to the Loporrits, I would offer them a gift, but its making doth require a most singular ingredient. Ah, an abundance of spongoi. Excellent. I chanced to spy this aggregation when crossing Zodriak's erstwhile prison. Using a spell taught to me by the Numo, I believe this shall suffice for the gift I would fashion. The magic required considerable concentration, however. Might I prevail upon thee to stand watch whilst I perform the incantation? Surveying the nearby area, you see no sign of potential threats. This will be a good opportunity to see how Urianger is faring. Urianger remains fixated on his work. There, it's done. A magic ink, every ounce as efficacious as that crafted by the Numo. Rare is the occasion I would conjure mine own, but it is nevertheless a most useful skill. The resulting product is admittedly possessed of no preternatural properties, but its hue is one of mine own choosing, which I pray the Loporrits will appreciate. Sagasite, Urianger, oh thank goodness, I thought you had been eaten, or had perhaps fallen into a crater. Oh, living way. I didn't. Always. Y'shtola has been looking all over for you. She says she needs to speak with you about something most urgent, dire even. She was also quite clear that she wishes to speak with Sagasite alone, which means I'm afraid you must stay behind, Urianger. But worry not, it just so happens we need your help with an errand, delivering a package from the Watcher's Palace to Bestways Burrow. It's quite large and heavy, perhaps even too heavy, for we poor Loporrits, and we would be ever so grateful if you could lend us a hand. Well, I suppose I should be going then. How about an extra pair of hands before I go and meet with Y'shtola? That's convenient, suspiciously convenient. Are you insinuating I would betray the trust of Hydaelyn's chosen? Or worse, do anything to risk getting on Y'shtola's bad side? She's clearly not one to be crossed, nor made to wait. Now, off with you. Worry not, I shan't be long. Oh, back so soon? Everything is alright with Urianger then? That's a relief. Oh, we thought you would be away for far longer. A dire emergency? I said no such thing. But as you are here, I could use your assistance with one small matter. Running Way, a companion of Growing Ways, apparently has much to tell us of the final day. The problem, however, is that he is determined to live up to his name, refusing to stay still long enough for us to hold a conversation. Is there anywhere he's likely to stop and rest, or perhaps there's a way to slow him down? What's the rush? I was thinking we should wait here, maybe enjoy a cold mug of carrot juice and... No? Well, if it is really that important, you can try using these balls of moose flesh, not to be confused with the other thing. Runaway's other notable feature is his incessant chatter, so you'll have no trouble finding him in a crowd. And when you do, try lobbying your balls at him. Crude, but if it proves effective. He was here in Greatest Endsvale when last I saw him. Let us split up and find him. So there is something to do, but Y'shtola didn't call for me. Target and throw moose. Okay. Oh, that's smart. If this was meant to be a joke, it isn't funny. Yes, I'm running away. Do you mind explaining why you hit me in the face with your balls of moose flesh? I'm highly knowledgeable about the final days. Ha! That's the most ridiculous thing I've heard since I woke up. Who told you that joke? And as if we've got time to look into the final days when there's so much to do before the Great Voyage. It's true that Hydaelyn did impart to us some knowledge of the events, but I know about as much as any other Loporrit around here. Less, probably. I don't know why anyone would think it's funny to go around telling people I'm an expert, but they had better hope I don't get my paws on them. Sorry I couldn't be of more help, but if there's nothing else, I've got work to do. And I'm off. Yeah, we're being directed in the wrong direction. That sounds odd. Oh no, you caught him? I mean, well done, you. Any luck? I tried near the entrance, but there was no sign of him. I could find neither hide nor hair of him. How did you fare? So he knows no more than the others. Care to explain yourself, Growing Way? Well, you see, I misremembered. Yes, that's it. I misremembered. Terribly sorry about that. Afraid I'm drawing a blank, though. Try as I might, I can't remember who I was thinking of. On an unrelated note, what of Urianger? I assumed you spoke with him earlier, but did he say when he'll be returning? On his way to the Watcher's Palace with Levyway. Between Growingway's sudden lapse of memory and our lack of other leads, maybe our time would be better spent lending Urianger a hand. Well, what? Now hold on a moment. It's all coming back to me, yes, I remember. The information you're looking for is in the archives. Yes, that's where you will find all sorts of useful knowledge, including that pertaining to the final days. Oh, okay. 5-3 hands, 5-3 guantes. If some scheme was afoot, surely Urianger would be the first to see through it. Then again, he does tend to give others the benefit of the doubt. I'm beginning to grow tired of these games. Oh, what to do? I promised Levyway I would help, but... No, I promised I would help, so that's what I will do. Archives are on the second floor of the main plaza, the eastern wing. Follow me. I suspect the Loporrits are up to something, but if there's aught to be learned to the final days, I think it best we play along. For now, at least. The architecture of this place is impressive, though more than a little confusing to navigate. Is it too much to ask for clearly marked exits, or a map, perhaps? What other knowledge do you suppose we could glean from the archives? The archives are right through this door, but it seems to be locked. Aha, I guess we'll just have to go and find whoever has the key. Growingway, enough. If you have naught else to tell us of the final days, you need only say so. We can ill afford to be wasting time here, as you well know. Did you yourselves not tell us we must act quickly? Yes, we did, but the moon was to be a perfect paradise for the people of Etheirys, and we're running out of time to make everything ready for the arrival. We hoped you would see the wonders we had to offer, but you have found nothing but faults and flaw in our work. Only one of you saw our potential, so you others must be kept here. Oh, so that's Levyway's game. Run us about in circles, and failing that, lock us away so we can't put the plan at risk. Everyone except Urianger. He understands what is at stake, what must be done. I feared you have misjudged us, Growingway. Never have we decried the notion of using the moon as a means of escape. That said, my heart breaks at the thought of abandoning Etheirys and her reflections to their doom. If there is a way to avert the final days, I wish to find it. We all do. We may fail, but our efforts would never be at the expense of your plans. But why would you take that risk? There's no room for ifs and maybes now. The people of Etheirys will escape here to the moon. They'll be safe and we'll finally get to see all their happy smiling faces. I'm sorry, but we can't let you leave. We just can't. Uh-oh, what? Do what you must, but try not to hurt them. I'll be back in a moment. Don't do anything rash while I'm gone. You honestly expect 3 little bunnies to stop me? If we dally, they'll overwhelm us with sheer numbers. I say we knock these ones out, split up, and make our way to the exit. Agreed. Let us reconvene where Argos awaits outside. She's too powerful. Yes, I am. Too strong. We have to save them. I mean, I get it. They're not bad. The Loporrits aren't bad. They're just... They have their mission and they don't know what to do. There you are. Didn't rough them up too badly, did you? Good, you are here. We must hurry to the Watcher's Palace and find Urianger.
And what, pray tell, do we seek at the Watcher's Palace?
Oh, come off it, friend. You know full well why we're here. The time has come for you to return to Etheirys and help your brethren prepare for their journey here and beyond.
Forgive me, Living Way, but I cannot in good conscience proceed with this plan.
Huh? But what about the final days? The death and the doom? Oh, we have to hurry before it's too late.
Your unflagging commitment to your duty is endearing, to say the least.
Oh, bugger!
Be at ease. They bear you no grudge, nor do I. How could we, having come to understand your purpose? For millennia, you and yours worked tirelessly towards the singular purpose of this heavenly vessel's construction. An arduous feat by any measure. It is clear you have spared no effort. Why, your very names are a testament to your dedication.
Our names? I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at.
Names are an expression of the self, a declaration of one's hopes and aspirations. Your use of contemporary, uncomplicated nomenclature doth ensure clarity of purpose. There can be no doubt that your love for the people of Etheirys is boundless and pure.
Yes! A most mellifluous phrasing! We Loporrits were born of Hydaelyn's love for Etheirys. That shining, shimmering blue jewel, brightest star in the sky, brimming with life and possibilities. For as long as I can remember, I've toiled in anticipation of the day when this vessel might be needed. All I've ever wanted was to meet those she cherished so dearly, to serve and serve well. That goes for all of us, don't you see? So help us help them. Lead them here where we can keep them safe. If there's anything wrong with what we've built, we'll fix it. We'll make it right.
Your works want not for repair. Yet there remaineth much for you to learn of men, and your own kin besides. Singing Way, thy name bespeaketh more than the simple marriage of rhythm and rhyme. The songs of Etheirys are beyond counting, and span the length and breadth of emotion. Maps are monuments to man's pioneering spirit, and his devotion to charting the furthest reaches of our star. Many have devoted their lifetimes to exploratory pursuits, to venture unto the highest mountains and the deepest oceans in search of unknown frontiers. And thou, my friend, I do not think we have met.
My name is Puddingway.
Puddingway? Yes, indeed. A name of deep and abiding significance, I'm sure. But one perhaps better communicated through delicious deeds than tasteless words.
Okay.
A judicious application of fey magics at a later juncture may be appropriate.
¿Qué pasa? con papaya o anche se duerme.
And living way. 'Tis no easy feat to convey the significance of thy moniker. When I was a bookish boy, a dear friend of mine was fond of peppering me with questions as I read, to my occasional annoyance. One day, I posed to her a question of mine own. What doth it mean to live? After much contemplation, she proffered this answer. The anticipation of a half-read story's conclusion. The hope today's mistake may serve as tomorrow's lesson. The wish that a new acquaintance may one day call thee friend. She believed it to be all these moments and more.
I want to understand, but...
I, too, still labor to find mine own answer. 'Twould be my pleasure to assist you and yours in embarking on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. For thee.
What is that?
Ink as blue as the waters of Etheirys. Made in haste, though I assure thee, the quality has not suffered for it. The people need not be persuaded by honeyed words. Nay, I have faith they shall do what is right in due course. Until they do, I beg your patience, friends. And with that ink, let us fill the empty pages of Living Ways Compendium. An open exchange of ideas will surely afford you all a better understanding of modern man, and with it, ideas for improvements and renovations. But more importantly, it shall empower us to together find a way forward.
I hope you're right. Thank you for this lovely gift.
There you have it. I shall remain with the Loporrits to ensure that all is in order. Though we must needs prepare for every eventuality, you would all agree that the evacuation of our star is a last resort. To accept failure is to accept the demise not only of our star, but that of Reen's, of all reflections, and the souls that call them home. Which is why I have every faith that you shall fight to the last, that such drastic measures may prove unnecessary.
Should the worst come to the worst, and I pray deeply that it won't, I'll take comfort in knowing preparations were made under your watchful eye.
Thou mayest be assured that if calamity cometh, not a soul will be left behind, if being the operative term.
Right of passion and love. That flower, how came it into your possession? How very like her. Guided by its light, you may come to know her true intentions. Intentions which remain a mystery even to us. In our time, we call it Elpis. You would do well to remember the name. ¿Qué estás oliendo? Ese micrófono, oye, no hueles el micrófono, güey.
I hate to interrupt, but I feel like I need to make amends for all the secrecy.
Think nothing of it. We haven't been the most gracious of guests. Do convey our apologies to Growing Way and the others.
But of course! And when next we welcome more guests from Etheirys, we'll have learned to be much more hospitable hosts. Oh, and circling back to to the matter of inappropriate secrecy, we ought to discuss our benefactors.
Agreed. The Charlayan Forum, yes?
Hmm?
What? How did you know?
The more I heard, the more obvious it became. The Forum's aims align closely with those of your anonymous patrons. A telling coincidence would be an understatement.
So they have communication with the moon, and they are the ones who have been sending everything gathered from Labyrinthos. They have been preparing it to send things to the moon for safekeeping.
Though had we not taken it upon ourselves to peruse certain restricted tones in Labyrinthos, we might still be unaware of their plans. But let us continue this discussion upon our return. I dare say we have kept Alphino and the others waiting long enough.
So that's their secret plan. Okay, I get it. I knew it had something to do with saving things, but I thought it was they planned to keep it inside Labyrinthos. They want to send it to the moon. Okay. There is little I can do to help stop the final days, but should you need to know of star traversal, look no further. Such knowledge I can offer in abundance, so do not hesitate to if you find yourself wanting. Well, that was all rather embarrassing, wasn't it? At least we're on the same page now, people and Etheirys. We'll save both, or at least give it a good try. Make sure everyone listens to Urianger, would you? Tell Grobway I look forward to our next walk together. You Loporrits sure are an acceptable bunch. Oh, we'll be all ears, and you know we can be. Nice to meet you. Name's Puddingway. Sorry again for all the trouble. We promise we'll do better. Honest. The others will be so happy to hear Urianger is going to stay and teach us all about Etheirys. We have to be careful not to get too distracted by his lessons. There's still maintenance to carry out, after all. The Loporrits think so highly of the people of Etheirys, yet it seems this evacuation plan is the only way they know to express their adoration. If we had been more clear in our intentions from the start, mayhap we could have avoided this wrinkle. Something to keep in mind in future. A declaration of hopes and aspirations. I hadn't thought of it that way before. The Loporrits may be in good hands now, but that doesn't change the fact that their plan is the last resort I had rather not employ. Let's say it doesn't come to that. For the first and all other reflections. I chanced to spy you crossing the chasm, and I feared something was amiss. But all is well, and more importantly, I have been given the opportunity to behold a wonderful sight. Keep the LPs close, and its light will be your guide. 'Twas a relief to see Living Way was pleased with my gift of ink, to serve and serve well. Though their knowledge may be lacking, their boundless love is a blessing without peer. It will be no easy task to prepare them for what must needs be done, but gladly do I embrace this duty, even if it doth necessitate that we part ways for a time. Forgive me my absence, but I have the utmost faith in you, in all our fellow science. When next I return to Etheirys, I pray I will find you all in good health and good spirits. I need not remind you of the dangers we face, nor the countless lives at stake both in the source and its reflections. Go with courage, my friend, and pray give the others my regards. With the Loporrits in Urianger's capable hands, we needn't worry about affairs here in our absence. Knowing now the face of their earthly collaborators, there is much to discuss with Alphino and the others. Let us return to the Tower of Babel. Our battle for the star will soon begin in earnest, and we must be prepared. Exit to the Nethergate. Okay, let's see how the world is fucked up now. I had forgotten how cold it was here in Garlemald, a testament to the Loporrits' ingenuity that I felt no such discomfort on the moon. God, I can scarcely believe we went to the moon and back, but we'll have time to reflect on that later. Right now we need to head back to Camp Broken Glass and deliver a thoroughly detailed report to Lucia. I would like very much to know how everyone is getting on here as well. They had only just begun to treat the tempered prisoners when we left. I share your curiosity, but warning our allies on the final days is of greater importance. I speak not only of the contingent, of course. The heads of the state of every nation must know what we learned. We know not when or where or in what manner the final days will begin to manifest, and so we must see that everyone is prepared. Agreed, though we may wish to stress the importance of discretion, lest the public be sent into a panic. Not that anyone in a position of responsibility should need to be told as much, but it bears repeating. Anyway, first things first, to Camp Broken Glass. It's good to see you all again. No worse for your lunar adventure, I hope? We have done what we can for now, and believe me, we intend to tell you all about it. But before we do, might you tell us what has become of Garlemald in our absence? We succeeded in subduing the Tempered inside the Tower of Babel. We took many alive, but combined with those who were already in our custody, the number requiring care has grown exponentially. The inclement conditions here have made it difficult, if not impossible, to treat them all here, and so we have petitioned to the aid of the allied nations. Some are, understandably, hesitant to prefer assistance, particularly those that were but recently subject to imperial occupation. That said, several others have agreed to grant them refuge for treatment. With the assistance of your fellow scions, we endeavor to see them safely transported and subsequently cured of their tempering. Will all the Tempered be relocated? Not all, no. We have sufficient shelter to attend to those whose treatment has begun, and enough healers have volunteered to remain until their patients have recovered. Julius is one such patient, though he is not yet fit to receive visitors. Truth be told, it was a miracle he and those in his company were not harmed in the chaos. If not for Alfinode and Alice's timely assistance, I dare say none of them would be with us today. In light of recent developments, have the Alliance leaders come to any decisions regarding Garlemald? Given the tremendous ramifications of what has happened here, it will take time to determine what must be done. In the meantime, they intend to work with the Eastern Alliance to keep a close watch over the provinces. We have other news to share. Shortly after Anima was defeated, we received reports that each and every tower has vanished. For a mercy, the process was apparently not quite as violent as that you experienced in Thapnair. Those who were trapped within them have been rescued and are receiving treatment. To hasten this endeavor, the Beast Tribes have received instruction in the magics needed to cure tempering. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled the Mother Porxial affords her so many visitors. Yes, we are grateful for her ongoing efforts, as well as those of our comrades near and far. As for the contingent, several of our members have been granted leave to return to their homelands after the transfer of Tempered has been completed. Lucia and I will remain, along with a small force, to continue offering aid to those here in Garlemald. The Emperor may be no more, but there are yet those who call these lands home. I believe that accounts for recent events here, so what of the moon and the Telovroi? Oh, it's a long story. Where do we begin? The final days. Gods, I prayed your victory would mark the end of our troubles. There is still much we do not know, but the Alliance leaders must be told. Would you be willing to contact them in our stead? Yes, of course. I will send word forthwith. We'll also release your fellow scions from their present duties, that they may return to Sharlayan. Your energies are better spent finding a means to avert the coming apocalypse. Speaking of your fellow scions, you will be happy to hear that Mistress Kryl, though still on the mend, has been moved to the Valdesian Annex and given into Tatara's care. Thank you. I look forward to seeing them both upon our return. Let us be on our way then. One last thing, if I may. After your confrontation with Zodriak, you said Xenos took his leave. and in all likelihood he has returned here to Garlemald. I have a mind to dispatch scouts to try and ascertain his whereabouts, but first wish to ask if you believe there is a merit in doing so. If they found him, they would not likely live to tell the tale. If you're expecting a trail of destruction to follow, you won't find one. An admirable but futile endeavor. If they find him, they would not likely live to tell the tale. I suppose you're right. To dispatch good soldiers in pursuit of such a beast would be to send them to their deaths. Pray forget I entertained the notion. Well, on the subject of Xenos, the 10th Legion has made an official proclamation. They denounced the Crown Prince and condemned his role in the Empire's downfall. His very title has become a source of shame among his former subjects, and its continued use serves only to hinder relations with foreign nations. For this reason, he has been declared as Xenos Viator Galvus, outcast and enemy of Garlemald. Fandaniel is no more, and now his people turn against him. It seems he's naught but his bloodlust to keep him company. Better that than an army to see it sated. At any rate, I will not keep you longer, and pray you safe passage back to Sharlayan. Okay, so we need to return to Sharlayan. Welcome back, Sagasite. We were so terribly worried about you. Though it is plain I have caused my own fair share of worry, and for that I apologize. Hydaelyn called to me that day when you entered the Tower of Babel. Her pleas were faint but desperate, and I knew at once she required a vessel to carry out her will. What came after feels like a dream barely remembered, my body flowing through the livestream toward Garlemald. When I regained consciousness, it was all aches and frostbite, exhausted of ether. So exhausted, in fact, I could only laugh, for it was in that moment I understood Raha's weariness from the Tower of Sot. Would that I could laugh at a time like this. Though we prevented Zodriak from being unleashed upon the world, I am curious to know what else took place there on the moon. Perhaps we should wait for the others to join us before you give your account. Let us reconvene in the main hall once they arrived.